As usual, the elegant and ancient scene appeared in front of the lake with dreamy locust flowers, warm red corridor, all blending with a relaxing and pleasant atmosphere that made Chen Yuan linger forgetfully. Upon entering the private room, Chen Yuan was immediately drawn to a graceful figure sitting quietly on the chair, especially dressed unlike usual, with a flowing dress and exquisite pearl bracelet exuding an elegant and noble air like a noble lady. In that moment, So Kwan's eyes seemed to have a strong attraction that made Chen Yuan's heart beat unusually fast. This is So Kwan. Why is she so beautiful? Upon seeing Chen Yuan, So Kwan seemed to snap out of her thoughts. She winked mischievously and looked at him with a complex expression. Chen Yuan walked to the opposite chair, smiled, and waved to greet. Detective So Kwan, you have been waiting for a long time. In So Kwan's mind, he was confused. I both love and hate this man in front of me. He is handsome, talented, good at martial arts and business. His abilities make me greatly admire him. But I hate being used for my status. I can appreciate his personality, but he only values my social status. It's all about intertwined interests. Maybe I pay too much attention to trivial matters, but I truly hate being used by a man to achieve his goals. If Chen Yuan makes a proposal, how should I reject him? Rejecting someone is extremely difficult, but I don't want to violate my own principles. As So Kwan was still dazed, Chen Yuan sat down in the opposite chair and asked, "What are you thinking, Officer So Kwan?" So Kwan immediately shook his head and changed the subject. "I'm not thinking anything. Now that you're here, let's order and don't call me a police officer anymore. I have retired from the police force, currently unemployed." Chen Yuan took the menu, ordered a variety of dishes, then looked at So Kwan and asked for his opinion. "All right, let's have dinner first. I don't know what you like, so I've ordered everything. There must be something you like in there." Wait until the food is served. Chen Yuan still hasn't mentioned the job that made So Kwan both skeptical and surprised. Chen Yuan is indeed a dominant man, rich and arbitrary, but he invited me here just for dinner. Chen Yuan also hasn't eaten anything, so when the food is brought up, he eats very focused and feels very satisfied. The taste and quality of the ingredients are excellent, worthy of being the #1 cuisine at Jianbako. After eating for a while, So Kwan couldn't help but ask Chen Yuan, "Why did you come to find me? Is inviting me to dinner just an excuse?" Chen Yuan replied with a cautious tone, I invited you to dinner today because I really have something I want to ask for your help with." After finishing speaking, the atmosphere suddenly became stagnant. So Kwan's tone also became cold. "Tell me, what is the matter? If I can help, I will try my best, however. My assistance is limited to my abilities. If this involves others or violates my principles, I am afraid I cannot help. Also, last time you gave me a helicopter, I hope you can take it back. If you don't retrieve it, I will report and handle it according to regulations. I don't want to receive that gift anymore." After saying this, the distance between the two seemed to be extended. So Kwan stared at Chen Yuan waiting for a response, but there was a feeling of disappointment in his heart. He is still asking for favors. Although I predicted this, I still can't accept him being so blatant. Feeling the tension in the air, Chen Yuan tried to explain. "Do you misunderstand something? Don't rush. You will need it in the future." So Kwan interrupted Chen Yuan, his tone extremely decisive. "I don't need it. If you insist on giving me a gift, we can just not meet anymore." Before So Kwan's arrogance, Chen Yuan could only sigh and surrender. All right, you win. You know I've been setting up a charity fund lately, don't you?" Upon hearing this, So Kwan immediately analyzed in detail. Of course, the newspapers reported yesterday also planned to invest $10 billion in building a hospital and providing free medical services for critically ill patients in Jianbako. However, to be honest, if you really want to take the contract to manage all the major hospitals in Jianbako, I'm afraid $10 billion won't be enough, not to mention you want to build another 10 hospitals. Furthermore, have you considered that the actual number of critically ill patients in Jianbako may not be accurately reported? There are many poor families who lack knowledge about diseases and self-treat at home. Missing out on treatment opportunities, the actual number of patients could be much higher than the statistics. Currently, you decide to treat critically ill patients for free. These are the ones who have hidden their illnesses. Of course, they will come out in large numbers. There is another issue as news spreads widely. Will critically ill patients from other cities come here for treatment or not? At that time, he will refuse or accept them. After all, this is also a charity project. If he refuses, will he be criticized by people? Will public opinion react violently? By then, he himself will be miserable for charity work. Not to mention $10 billion, $100 billion is not enough. It cannot continue to pour money indefinitely. Many things are not as simple as he imagines, and if he uses this $10 billion to invest in education or infrastructure construction for the community, he can gain much greater reputation and value than investing in healthcare. Seok-hwan's every sentence aimed at the core issue, going straight to the point, which greatly impressed Chen Yuan. That's right, you are absolutely right. This is not simple, and I am glad that you have raised these issues, showing that I did not choose the wrong person. Therefore, I officially invite you to take on the position of chairperson of the charity fund and have full authority to allocate the 10 billion capital. You also know how busy I am. I truly do not have the leisure time to handle these things. I need to find someone I trust and capable. And after careful consideration, I thought of you. You indeed did not disappoint me. Before the sincere invitation from Chen Yuan, Seok-hwan was extremely shocked. What? He doesn't want to take advantage of my relationship, but wants me to be the president of a $10 billion fund. Upon learning Chen Yuan's intentions, Seok-hwan's breathing became rapid, her eyes wide open and her chest heaving as she spoke incoherently. I can't. Seeing that Seok-hwan no longer despised her as before, Chen Yuan continued to persuade. Don't rush to refuse. I sought you out for a reason. First, I gave you a private jet that you didn't want. Not moved by personal gain, which shows your noble ethical character. Not the type to be greedy and use money. Moreover, you have just resigned for the criminal police team, completely suitable to take over the charity fund. So I chose you, along with other considerations with your special status. If you take on the role of president of the charity fund, no one dares to embezzle this huge 10 billion, and every dime will be handed over to the patients. I don't care if society is grateful to me or not, or if I can gain fame and benefits, as long as that money can truly help the patients. Whether they thank or blame me, I don't care. I just want to do my best and not be ashamed of my conscience. As soon as those words were uttered, Seok-hwan was immediately shaken. Then she looked up at Chen Yuan with shimmering eyes and asked, "So, that's why you arranged to meet me today. You want me to be the president of the charity fund and entrust me to manage $10 billion. Seok-hwan just wanted to ask again, but Chen Yuan nodded affirmatively, and to make it more dramatic, he even smashed the dining table in his determined eyes. Yes, I want to choose you as the chairman of the charity fund. At that moment, Seok-hwan suddenly understood everything. Then he immediately regretted his attitude towards Chen Yuan before. Finally, it was clear why Chen Yuan gave me such a luxurious airplane for no reason. He was testing me, yes. Entrusting $10 billion to someone else to manage, of course. Had to choose someone with good moral character, principled, and absolutely not tempted by personal gain. I was narrow-minded and misunderstood that he wanted to take advantage of the relationship. But if he officially invited me to take on the position of chairman of the charity fund, maybe I would have passed his test. This man really knows how to probe into people's hearts. Thinking about this, all the misunderstandings in his heart were completely resolved. Seok-hwan could no longer contain his emotions. His feelings for Chen Yuan made the system continuously ring out. Seok-hwan's favorite level increased by 10. Current favorite level is 90 points. Favorite level up to 90 points is completely different. Seok-hwan's previous cold attitude quickly disappeared, replaced by gentleness and openness. Then she hesitated and said, "Sorry, Chen Yuan, maybe I misunderstood you before." Chen Yuan, knowing the answer, still pretended to be surprised and asked, "What did you misunderstand?" Thinking that Chen Yuan still didn't know her previous thoughts, Seok-hwan quickly changed the subject and hesitantly asked, "It's nothing, it's in the past, but you entrusted me with the position of charity fund president. Are you sure I can handle it? I'm just a former criminal investigator. Do you really trust me with this huge amount of $10 billion? After asking this question, Seok-hwan felt a bit sad. Recently, because I quit the criminal investigation team, my father has been trying to set me up for blind dates, which is really annoying, and even if it's not a blind date, he wants to arrange a job for me in the government system. If I can become the president of the charity fund managing 10 billion and start building hospitals and doing charity work, maybe my father will see me differently, and this job won't affect his reputation." Looking at Seok-hwan's emotional eyes, Chen Yuan gently reassured, "Seok-hwan, you don't need to worry about this at all. Charity work is not like business. You don't need to make money from it. Just make sure that each fund is used for the right purpose. As for treatment options for the patients, I will personally handle it." Pausing for a moment, Chen Yuan pulled out a luxurious black card and handed it to Seok-hwan, then continued confidently, "Seok-hwan, financially you have nothing to worry about. There is $10 billion in this card. You have it in your hands now. Shortly I will send you the WeChat account of Teacher Wang. He is my university professor who is currently in charge of the charity fund management. The fund is now recruiting staff." Looking at the black card in front of her, Seok-hwan was both shocked and moved. Is this really $10 billion? He entrusted it to me like this. But as she held the card in her hand, Seok-hwan couldn't help but be touched. This is the feeling of trust indeed. There is nothing more precious than absolute trust. Who can trustingly hand over $10 billion to someone they don't completely trust? His actions not only showed trust, but also high regard for my abilities and talents. Suk-hwan felt the deep understanding and appreciation from Chen Yuan. Suk-hwan glanced at Chen Yuan and then felt embarrassed in his heart, saying, "And he called me Suk-hwan just now. At home, only my father calls me that way. Isn't calling someone by their first name so intimate? I really don't like it when others call me that, but when Chen Yuan does, it feels nice. Moreover, he seems younger than me. Is it really appropriate to call someone so familiarly?" The more Suk-hwan thought, the more he blushed, his hands constantly touching his face and shaking his head, leaving Chen Yuan confused. During this meal, Suk-hwan respected Chen Yuan to the ground, even seeming to serve him. Back at Huda University, it was 7 p.m. at this time. Since Wang Xiubing gave up his position for Kim Jenny, the charity recruitment campaign had been launched with great fanfare. The number of candidates today had exceeded 800 people. Even the recruitment venue was not enough. Later, with the help of the new vice president of the student union, they were able to borrow the student activity center as the recruitment venue. At around 7:30 p.m., Wang Xiubing suddenly remembered the charity fund. Mr. Wang looked at the clock and muttered to himself, "I wonder if Kim Jenny's recruitment today went smoothly, if she found the right candidates." He then took out his phone and called Kim Jenny to ask, "Hello, Jenny, how did the recruitment go?" Kim Jenny enthusiastically reported, "Sir Wang, the recruitment went well. Can you come to the Student Activity Center to have a look? I am discussing mainly about salaries and bonuses, which I am not very good at." After hanging up the phone, Wang Xiubing was very confused. Student Activity Center? Why did they change the location? I'll go have a look. With doubts in his mind, Wang Xiubing immediately went to the Student Activity Center. The young people are always in a hurry. They changed the location just like that. How many people can they recruit in a remote place like this? As he opened the door, the once spacious Student Activity Center was now almost crowded, with more than 1,000 people estimated to be present. Wang Xiubing was stunned by the sight as the crowd immediately greeted him in unison. "Hello, Mr. Wang." Seeing this scene, Mr. Wang was taken aback. 10 seconds passed. Wang Xiubing still looked dazed. It wasn't until over 1,000 people greeted him again that old Wang finally came to his senses. After scanning the crowded people once again, Wang Xiubing broke into a cold sweat, his dry lips muttering, "Oh my God, why is it so crowded?" He then forced a smile and asked Kim Jenny, "Jenny, did you recruit all these people?" Kim Jenny nodded affirmatively. "Yes, that's right, sir. Due to the time constraints, we could only find this many. You can criticize me." Feeling uneasy, Wang Xiubing questioned, "How did you manage to do this?" Kim Jenny explained, "Sir, thanks to the members of the student union. After recruiting some members from the student union, we used them as a center to spread information to all student unions and even the whole school. One person introduces two people introduce a group, totaling more than 1,000 people." After listening to Kim Jenny's explanation, Wang Xiubing pointed to the recruitment board prominently displayed in front of the activity center, furrowing his brows as he asked, "Jenny, didn't you say that the salary issue has not been decided yet? Why does the board clearly state a starting salary of $8,000 per month?" Kim Jenny also began to understand that inadvertently she had caused a big issue. She had a bit of difficulty opening her mouth. "Sir, many students have asked me about the issue of salaries. They are very concerned about this issue. I've vaguely said about $8,000 per month, as well as other benefits, including the percentage deduction and responsible person, specifically for each item that needs to wait for the leadership to decide." Speaking up to this point, she tried to defend herself by saying, "I feel that Huda is a prestigious university after all. A salary of $8,000 is not too high. It is within a reasonable range and can be considered a basic salary." These words rang in Wang Xiubing's ears, making him extremely angry. Internally, he could not help but angrily curse. "What do you mean it's not too high? I've been working for decades and my monthly salary is only $10,000. This girl doesn't know the price of rice, meat, firewood, salt. How can she understand? Even regular employees only get about $2,000 per month is considered high. Who gives interns a high salary of $8,000? Now she hires more than 1,000 people at once. The cost of human resources alone is already a large amount." Thinking about it, Wang Xiubing slapped his forehead, feeling a headache. "How am I going to do this? Chen Yuan trusts me so much and I messed up. But the die has been cast. If I suddenly declare dissolution, there would be some broken promises. Will this affect the reputation of the CNY charity fund? If a villain takes advantage and spreads false rumors, it might become the focus of public attention." The more he thought, Wang Xiubing could only sigh helplessly. Just at that moment, Chen Yuan called. "No mention, everything was fine, just mention that it's all done." Chen Yuan saw Wang Xiubing answer the phone and immediately asked about the recruitment situation. "Teacher Wang, how is the recruitment going?" On this end, Wang Xiubing could only stammer, "Ah ha ha ha. Everything is going smoothly, ha ha ha." Hearing this, Chen Yuan happily announced, "Teacher Wang, I have arrived at the school. I will introduce a candidate to you later." Wang Xiubing curiously asked, "Who is it?" Chen Yuan calmly replied, "The chairman of the charity fund. I have found a suitable candidate." Originally intending to introduce him when they met, but thinking that Seok-hwan was just a student, suddenly becoming the chairman of the charity fund was even higher than Wang Xiubing. Then, thinking of unnecessary troubles and afraid that Mr. Wang would not be comfortable, Chen Yuan hurriedly revealed, "Mr. Wang, I warn you in advance, the chairman of the charity fund is the daughter of Dongwei." Upon hearing this, Wang Xiubing tried to remember Dongwei. Who is that? The name sounds familiar, but I can't recall. Kim Jenny, standing nearby, listened in, and as soon as she heard the name, she reminded, Dongwei. "Mr. Wang, I remember now, at Jianbokgung we had a secretary with the last name right. The name in his ears like a thunderbolt." Wang Xiubing couldn't help but be shocked and choked up, exclaiming, "Secretary Donghui. I remember now, this brat Chen Yuan brought his daughter here, huh? Dan Donghui. But he's a high official. Even the former principal had to bow respectfully." On the other hand, after Chen Yuan finished speaking, he hung up the phone and then walked alongside Seok-hwan along the familiar path leading back to the school.